one way of playing it, but that.
After carefully analysing a whole week's worth of snooker, I believe I found the 10 best shots from the English Open.
Well,
But which of these is better, and how exactly do we find out who played the shot of the championship? So I'm going to attempt to recreate the top 10 shots to find out exactly how difficult they are to play.
one.
I'm going to attempt to recreate these shots as accurately as possible in the fewest possible attempts, and that should give me a rough idea of just how difficult these shots are. But we're going to begin with Shaun Murphy, who had just got the snookers he needed against Joe O'Connor and was left this chance to win the game. The fact that it was 2-all in a best of 7 made it even more significant, as after clearing up, Shaun only needed one more frame to win the match. It does require a fair amount of backspin, but not too much. I was fairly happy to get it after just 3 attempts, but didn't quite hit it hard enough to be perfect. When Ronnie O'Sullivan finished straight on the blue against David Lilly, it looked like he was completely out of position and wasn't going to be able to get on the next red. But Ronnie was able to use the bump of the middle pocket to get closer to the next red, and it couldn't have gone much better.
Exactly.
To play it you need a lot of backspin, but the difficult part isn't the pot or screwing the cue ball back far enough, it's actually screwing it into the middle jaw, which is really challenging. I think if I could play this shot slowly I'd get it right every time, but the fact that I then have to get the cue ball back across the table and play it at pace meant it was a lot harder. I was actually really pleased to get this after just 5 attempts, even though I didn't quite get the cue ball as far as I would have liked. Fraser Patrick needs a snooker here, but he manages to get one from a really tough position. As soon as I saw how difficult this shot was to play, and how much of a difference it could have made in the match, I knew I'd have to include it, which was going to be a problem because I could see just how many attempts this was likely to take me before I got the cue ball anywhere near the brown and the green. This is just a plain ball shot, but the fact that I'm having to bridge over the brown makes it incredibly difficult to even hit the red in the first place, let alone play it at the correct angle to get the cue ball back down the table and get the snooker. And on my 5th attempt I got a little bit lucky. I played at exactly the right angle, but hit it way too hard. Fortunately the brown slowed it down. Sometimes you'll see a well-played shot that's even tougher than it appears. Sanderson Lamb had left Mark Selby in a tricky position, but he manages to pot his way out of the situation with this red down the cushion. The cue ball would probably have gone safe if he missed it, but that doesn't really make the pot any less difficult. Again, this is a shot that's not really played with any spin, and on my first attempt I got really close to potting it. I didn't realise how difficult this shot was until I had 3 or 4 attempts and it just hadn't quite gone in the pocket whatever I'd done. It felt like because all I really had to do was pot the ball that I should have got it a bit quicker, but I was underestimating just how difficult the shot really was. So in the end 9 attempts was probably about right for this one. We've got a Mark King shot next after we find Mohammed, who's from Munafaya, Egypt, which is in there. Next we have a really complex snooker and Mark King trying to escape from it. This is one of those shots where Mark could easily have hit a red, but he didn't want to leave anything on. He manages to play the cue ball around 4 cushions here, leaving it perfectly safe against the red on the top cushion. Even though I had a few chances to see exactly how Mark had played the shot, I have to say it confused me quite a bit. I seemed to be hitting the same place on the cushion, but getting nowhere near where the cue ball needed to go. I think I was playing it with roughly the same amount of spin, but I needed to strike the cushion a little bit sooner than Mark, and the angles didn't quite react the same, which is a little bit unusual. John Higgins next, and you guessed it, he's attempting a tough double. This one I thought looked really impressive because John appeared to be completely out of position here, but not only did he manage to pot the red, he managed to get on the colour as well. As soon as I had a chance to look back at this shot, I automatically noticed I was playing it wrong. John hadn't actually played this shot with any side spin, and I was playing it with left hand side. That's why the cue ball stays closer to the red. Other than that, it was a little bit confusing. You had to hit the cushion a lot further down the table than it appeared. It took me quite a few attempts to get it right. But it does go to show that this was another shot that was a little bit harder than I was expecting. I've been struggling a little bit with my tip recently, so I'm not exactly looking forward to playing this next Neil Robertson shot. My old tip broke and my new one had fallen off a few times, so I wasn't really 100% confident with this one, especially playing a deep screw shot. Although my first attempt was fairly encouraging, although trying to get enough backspin on the cue ball to get it back down the table was a lot harder than I was expecting like this. I was having to throw my whole body weight at the cue ball a lot more than usual to get anywhere near the same amount of backspin I was expecting. Eventually I just about got it, but it was a little bit short. Ashley Carthy's found himself in a really tough position here where he's got to escape from the snooker while using the spider. This is a brilliant escape out of a tough situation, leaving the balls completely safe. Once again, this is a shot that you don't need to play with any spin. However, because you're using the spider and bridging right over the top of the brown, the difficulty here is to play it without any side spin, because even if you put a tracer left or right hand side on the cue ball, it could make you miss by a long way. On my first attempt, I just slightly underhit it and was a little surprised at how hard you needed to play it. It wasn't quite as easy as I thought it was going to be this one, so it's not too bad. Before our next shot, we're just going to find Thiago, who's from Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is there. Shots down the cushion are tough in snooker because you're playing into the pocket at its tightest possible angle. But in the same frame as the previous shot, Kyren Wilson manages to secure it by potting this long green down the cushion and rattling it in. To make this shot easier, I'm trying to stun it in as slow as I possibly can. That was pretty good. John Higgins now, with what you'd have to say is a bit of a speculative positional shot. He manages to spin the cue ball around 3 cushions here, knock the blue out the way and finish on the red. He could have ended up on the red in a number of ways here, but he was a little bit fortunate, I suppose, to get it in this way. To play this shot, I'm going to need a huge amount of left-hand side, which does make the pot a little bit challenging. Because of where the middle pocket is here, I can't hit the cushion where I need to, so I have to make the angle with a lot of side spin. I thought I was going to be here for a while again on this one, but fortunately I managed to get the right kiss and finish on the red. So what shot was the best? Well, third I'm going to say was Fraser Patrick. It was difficult enough to bridge over the top of those balls and hit the red, let alone play the cue ball perfectly around 2 cushions and get the snooker. Second was Ronnie O'Sullivan, screwing the cue ball back perfectly onto the jaw. I don't think it was too difficult to get the cue ball to the jaw, but to do it at the speed to get back across the table was really tough.
Exactly.
But the winner was definitely Mark Selby's shot down the cushion. Even though he was playing it as a shot to nothing, and it looked like a really tough shot, it actually was a lot harder to play than I thought it was going to be. But which shot did you think was best? It's even highly likely I left a really good shot out because I just wasn't aware of it, so let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more videos of me recreating some of the best shots, have a look at these 2. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.